In this video, we will look into Airflow. Airflow is a workflow engine. It is developed by Airbnb for its internal use, and now they have outsourced it. What essentially is a workflow engine? A workflow engine, in a nutshell, is basically a workflow management tool where you can define tasks and you can define the relationship between the tasks. For example, you say that certain task can only be triggered when the certain other set of tasks are finished. So if you visualize, it's like a graph kind of thing. So another closely related terms is DAG, or directed acyclic graph. Airflow basically defines their workflow as DAG. And in DAG, you have got vertices and the edges, and edges is a direction associated with it. The property of a DAG is that if you start from a vertex and follow the directed edges to another vertex, and if you keep on following that, you should never be able to come back to the original starting vertex. However, in this video, we will mostly focus on how to install Airflow and how to write a simple workflow, write tasks inside that workflow, and how to run it. Okay, so let's get started. So first thing, what Airflow expects you to define a Airflow home variable, where basically Airflow can park its configuration and other things. So I have done this here already in my bash RC. It might change based on your environment. So you see here, export Airflow home, Airflow, and I have got this Airflow directory. And then you can pip install Airflow. I have already done that, so I don't see much thing happening at my end, but at your end, a lot of other things. It will actually install a lot of packages, and then initialize the database initdb. So again, I've already done that, so nothing much happens here. But you should see this airflow.db file. We can open it, though it's like can't read it much, but still, if you see a little bit down below, there are table structures and all those are created. So by default, Airflow uses a SQLite database, and then we can start the server. Airflow web server 380. Okay, so now the server got started. So we'll come to that a little later. Let's see how we can define a DAG. So a DAG is basically a directed acyclic graph which represents a workflow inside the Airflow. So if we look into this DAG, I have already put this file. So for that, you have to make a DAX directory, and inside DAX, if you go, I have got this hello world.py. So let's briefly go through that, what it is happening here. So you define some default arguments. There's a whole list of arguments. Might want to check with Airflow documentation for that one. And then you define a DAG. So DAG has got a name and the set of arguments that we have defined here. So we are naming our DAG as a hello world DAG. And then you can define tasks. So we are defining 4 tasks here. So there are a concept of operators. So there's a whole big set of operators that Airflow supports. Here we are using a bash operator. So what it would do is that it will basically run a bash command. If you see this task one, and echo out the hello world, the famous hello world. And then you say that this task belongs to which DAG, and you give a task ID to that one. So similarly, we define T2, T3, T4, and then we define the relationships. In the sense, we say that T2 and T3 can only be started after T1 is finished, and T4 can only be run after T2 and T3 are finished. So once you do this, then once you write your DAG, so just you might just want to see that it compiles fine. So do a Python hello world, so everything works fine. You will see a pyc file here, and then we can Airflow provides a lot of command line tools. So I can say Airflow list DAGs, and there you see hello world there. There are other DAGs also which come as part of the installation. They are the default DAGs, the example DAGs which Airflow itself provides. I can also list down the list of tasks. So I can say list tasks and hello world. Okay, so you can see task 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I can backfill select also, it seems that it will put some data for you. So for that one, you can use it to backfill hello world start date and the end date. I've already done that one. So now let's go back and look into the UI, the user interface of the Airflow. So for that, you remember we have used 8080 port. So that's what I'll hit with my browser. And you can see the dash here. And you see there, this hello world is here. And I can click on the hello world. And there are our 4 tasks. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you see the relationship. That's how we have defined. So let me show you that. So hello world. If I go at the end, here we have set the relationship. So that's how the relationship gets reflected here. And then we can show the tree view. Okay, task 1, 2. So read it from the other way around. So task 1, task 1. So when task 1 runs, it will run task 2 and it will run task 3. And when task 2 and task 3 are finished, then task 4 is run. And the different runs are basically captured here. So you can see the details of that one. So you can do a lot of things on it. And then there is the status of the task here. You can also see the task duration, how much time they are taking. So they are color coded here. And if you just want to, let's say, don't want to show task 1, so I can actually, let's say, hide all and then just show me task 1 or just show me task 3. Okay. And then we have landing times. I'm not very sure what it is that. And then we have Gantt chart. In the Gantt chart, you can see when it was run, those kind of things, some details out there. And then you have got the code. So it's the same code that we have written there. So that covers a basic Airflow installation, how to write a basic workflow, how to write tasks inside workflow, and how to do the relationships between them. It's still an evolving tool. There are a lot of changes and commits happening, very active GitHub, and you might just want to go and follow the documentation is more detailed. So your starting point is to start with GitHub.